KVUE is a proud sponsor of Honor Flight Austin, honoring Central Texas veterans with trips of a lifetime to Washington, D.C., so they can see the memorials that recognize their service. And tonight, KVUE's Bob Buckaloo introduces us to a woman who served as an Army nurse during the Vietnam War.
Oh dear, this is a picture when I modeled dress uniforms at the Pentagon.
Meet retired U.S. Army Captain Vicki Strevey.
And then I have a second one here to show I'm a Vietnam veteran in front of my hutch in Vietnam.
Pictures of her are displayed along with other veterans who live at an independent living community in Leander. Vicki's career in the military began in the 1960s after she graduated from nursing school. She volunteered to serve as an Army nurse in the jungles of Vietnam during the war.
I was a pretty green nurse when I got over there. I was 21 years old, freshly graduated. And they put me in a very appropriate place. I worked on a tropical disease unit where we were treating malaria and then a lot of other unusual tropical diseases that the boys would get.
Those tropical diseases were common. Vietnam's environment itself was an enemy. Mosquitoes, contaminated water, parasites, and bacteria could take a soldier out of action without a single shot being fired. After Vietnam, Vicki served at the Walter Reed Army Medical Center in Washington, D.C. It was here that she took care of former President Dwight Eisenhower during the last year of his life. He had become one of America's most celebrated military leaders during World War II. Eisenhower was elected president in 1952 and again in 1956, but he experienced 7 heart attacks during his lifetime and spent the last 10 months of his life living at Walter Reed. Vicki was assigned to care for him.
And I walked into the room to meet him, and he greeted me and said, "I've heard a lot about you." And I wanted to say, "I've heard a lot about you." But I held back because I didn't know him well, but he had a great sense of humor. It was wonderful.
This coming weekend, Vicki will be among the veterans who will visit the memorials in Washington, D.C. that honor their service to our country, courtesy Honor Flight Austin. The expense-paid visits to our nation's capital are open to any veteran who served prior to June 1975. Among the monuments to visit this weekend is the Vietnam Women's Memorial that honors the 11,000 women who, like Vicki, served as nurses on the battlefields of Vietnam. For her, it will be an opportunity to remember the lives she touched and the service of the women who stood beside her. Bob Buckaloo, KVUE News.
If you want to support Honor Flight, you can scan the QR code on your screen right now with your smartphone.
And you can also learn more and watch more of our stories with Central Texas veterans who have been on these flights by visiting kvue.com/honorflight.